is love. Love in this place. Whenever two or more of us gathered in His name, I found the world is all the same.
Good evening, wherever you are on this blessed Friday night. Welcome to another episode of Level Up Your Marriage with my beautiful co host, Raquel Winter Blake, having another exciting program in store for you, discussing everything relevant to marriage and relationships. We want to express again how thankful we are to share on this particular platform. And we invite you that as we have the discussion tonight, that you also engage with us. Send in your questions, send in your comments, and we will surely look at them, answer the questions if we can, and also read your comments. Raquel, welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. It's good to be here again as we talk about leveling up your marriage and all things marriage. We're about enhancing and providing tips, techniques, and of course, as we are sharing, we hope to learn from you too because we're all in this thing together, and experiences that you have can also make a difference in our lives and in the conversation that we have this evening. So, Paul, tell us what we'll be discussing this evening.
Be an interesting This should be an interesting discussion. I, we as we look at the subject and know many different views from it, many different opinions as to the the value and relevance of marriage counseling. Some people run away from marriage counseling as if it were the plague. And so tonight we really want to dive into this discussion to see if we can, garner some things and probably set some people straight where this is concerned. Yes, Raquel, what you have to say about that?
Definitely, definitely. We're talking about the myths and truths of marriage counseling. And so, um, part of the discussion will definitely include the advantages, the benefits of marriage counseling. And of course, we might also encounter in our discussion that it might not be relevant for everyone. So it's an open discussion, and we know for sure as counseling psychologists, and that's part of the service that we offer. So it's indeed a point that we will definitely be um, emphasizing the importance and the relevance of marriage counseling. You know, um, it will definitely make a difference in somebody's marriage, and even as individuals are preparing to get married, then it will also add value to their lives as they are charting a new way together. Don't you agree?
So, why do you think people have this aversion towards marriage counseling, though? As you know, as we get ready to have the discussion, there are very varied opinions out there as to why people have this aversion to to marriage counseling? What you think, the kind of fears that people have?
Well, you see, just probably just lack of knowledge. When you're not sure of what is involved in a process, there's initial hesitation. Persons who have never gone to the dentist, using that as an example for the first time, they are a little timid. When you talk about for the dentist, the machines, and you're going to have to open your mouth and so on. So, you know, in a similar way, for marriage counseling, persons are going to have to expose themselves. They're not sure what to expect. They're not sure if the counselor is going to take side with the one partner. So, um, so being
Hmm.
aware of what is involved in the process also causes hesitation or some concerns for individuals. Or sometimes persons might have unexpected, unrealistic expectations too. You know.
Hmm. Well, for me, I think that when we recognize that there are several myths associated with marriage counseling, as we navigate these myths and reestablish the truths, I think that persons will probably have a different view as to what really marriage counseling entails. And so I'm going to start off the discussion looking at some of the common beliefs that people have in regards to what marriage counseling is, and try to really replace some of those mythical beliefs systems with what is really true and what we do on a regular basis, because we have been involved in counseling couples at different stages of their relationship for many years, and we together we have been able to reframe people's minds as to what counseling really entails, because even as we practice daily, we have the situations where from couples coming to the office, that there's an aversion to the counseling session,
Mhm.
and a lot of times how they come in is not how they leave, and they leave having a total different perspective of what the constant relationship is. So that is what we want to look at this evening. So one of the places I'm going to begin looking at, um, one of the myths is marriage counseling is only for couples who are on the brink of divorce. And that is a common one, right? Even especially for persons who have never gone to a counseling session. A lot of times when you talk to these persons, they will tell you that marriage counseling is really only for those persons who are getting divorced. Or people will tell you that marriage counseling are only for people who are having problems. And we know that is really not true. So let me hear your take on that. Marriage counseling is only for couples who are on the brink of divorce.
You're right in the sense that persons, like I said, because persons they don't know, they don't have the experience, or because sometimes what they hear and what they watch on some programs, TV programs that also has a strong influence on people's expectations or unrealistic views about marriage counseling. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
movies, people, they rush to the counselor when they're on the brink of divorce, and they don't see the other side where marriage counseling is useful, can be useful to strengthen relationships. It can be useful in terms of um, enhancing communication skills and being more proactive rather than reactive. So a number of circumstances, persons, or people too, when they talk about when people are in having challenges in their relationship, that's when they think, okay, I need to go and see a counselor. They don't necessarily talk about going to a marriage counseling as to tune up your relationship, to enhance your relationship. So that falls into one of those myths where the general expectation or general expression about marriage counseling is when there's a challenge, when there's, as you say, persons are on the brink of divorce. And so that adds to the myth. So we definitely want to debunk that and speak about the fact that marriage counseling, um, in terms of a broader sense, and it plays a more proactive role in enhancing relationship and marriages. What do you think about?
So let us begin with the truth then. Yeah, let us debunk that myth, because the
Yeah.
truth is that marriage counseling can benefit any couple at all.
Mhm.
You don't have to be, you don't even have to be having a problem taking marriage counseling, because I we want to just throw that right through the window, right?
Yeah.
That marriage counseling is not persons who are having turmoil in their relationship, turmoil to the point that the relationship is going to break down. But the truth is that counseling is really for any couple, regardless of the severity of the issues that they are having. Counseling can be good at any point in time. Right? Counseling is misconceived, that it is exclusively for couples who are facing severe problems in their relationship. But if we look at some of the stuff where enhancing relationships are concerned, one of the first places we can look at is that counseling is can be seen as a preventative measure, and a measure that also is used to support or to strengthen the relationship. Uh, it can be used. I think you alluded to it before, that counseling can be used to enhance communication, to improve one's communication skills. Again, we have to bear in mind that, especially when persons are newlywed, and depending on how long couples have been dating, that we don't come to the relationship at the same levels. And as a matter of fact, we can even come to the relationship being a little bit ignorant of some of the stuff that we should know. And so I see getting counseling as a strengthening or preventative measure to either learn communication skills or to sharpen those skills that you already have, right? Because again, uh, if we follow the research, couples who engage in preventative counseling are strengthening measures where the relationship is concerned, tend to be able to navigate the challenges, the common challenges of the relationship in a better way, rather than to wait until the situation has occurred. That is when you are now going to try to learn the things that will help you to have a better relationship. I've said a lot there.
I think if we could put another spin on it so that it becomes a little more palatable or acceptable or more for person to understand. Let us use an example of a motor vehicle. You just purchased your 2024
Hmm.
Audi, right? And you
Hmm.
want best out of this car. You have spent millions and millions of dollars on this car, and you want the best out of it. So you're going to, and the manufacturer tell you, come and service it every 3 months, every 6 months, to take all of the preventative measures. So in a
Yes.
similar way, because you want the best out
For
of the
efficiency.
relationship,
For,
you want the best for your marriage, you know, you would do those things that would enhance the relationship, um, that it would help to improve your communication skills, anything that would improve your the sexual relationships, anything. Pardon me. So in a similar way, where when you purchase this new car that you have spent millions and millions of dollars purchasing, you have made a sacrifice. In a similar way, this relationship is so valuable. Your marriage is so important. Then part of taking good care of it, part of, you talk about the preventative measures, you talk about strengthening the relationship. In a similar way, when you want to take good care of this car, you want to ensure that You understand how the mechanics of it works. Similarly, for marriage to be effective, then counseling is that tool that you should think about, that you can use to enhance your relationship, to enhance the communication.
Let us even move away from the car example, but look at something as a house. If you buy a house, a new house, and you live in it without maintaining it, what will happen? Eventually it's going to deteriorate. It's going to the roof is going to go, the paint job will peel. If you don't maintain the outside, you will be living in bushes before long, and all of that. And so we understand that these things have to be maintained if we want to keep them useful. And so I think the same thing, the same kind of example can be brought across to our relationships, that you don't why why wait until you have issues? Because you shouldn't be waiting until the roof is leaking before you look at the roof, right? You should be checking the roof regularly. And so why do we not think that it is necessary for us to wait until we have problems before we seek to enhance and strengthen our relationships? So this whole idea of marriage counseling is only for those who are on the brink of divorce and having trouble in their relationship, is really something that is not very true, right? Another thing that we can look at where marriage counseling is concerned, that it helps us to build stronger emotional connections, right? And as we go through our relationships, and we know that our relationships change as the years go by, and so we need to be doing work in order to keep that emotional bond, that emotional connection growing stronger and stronger. And we know that if we don't work to keep these emotional connections in our relationship, they are going to fade away with time. And eventually we have two virtual strangers living in the same space, right? Because again, just as how we should make sure that we maintain the things that are important to us, and I think that you said it also, that if this thing is valuable to us, then why not do what is necessary to maintain it?
The
Hmm.
example is relevant in all aspects of our lives. It's relevant, it's important. So I'm glad that I started with example of the car, you added the example of the house, and it's relatable, and that's the point. So most persons will accept that, if, as you said, if you buy the house, and if you buy the house and don't live in it, you still have a challenge. So the idea is that
Yeah.
maintenance, strengthening, enhancing, all of those things would add value to this aspect of a relationship, of a marriage, because it is important to you, and you want to succeed. Persons have the expectation, they have a desire for their marriage to succeed, but it requires action, it requires effort for that to become a reality. And of course, the topic of marriage counseling is definitely one tool that we are encouraging persons to consider, to have as a strategy that can enhance your relationship and your marriage.
Yes. We looked at in one of our programs previously. We looked at conflict,
Yeah.
and we look at the kind of impact that conflict has on relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to bring into the mix that marriage counseling is one of the things that helps in conflict.
True.
Before conflict takes place, marriage counseling can be used to develop strategies to counteract conflict. Right? You don't have to, and many of us think that that we are, as couples, we have to have we have to engage in conflict that is destructive, and that's not true. Note, we can't escape conflict, because conflict is a part of life. Everywhere we go, there's going to be some kind of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is not the conflict. The problem is that many of us don't have the correct strategy. Many of us don't have the skills, the necessary skills that it takes to navigate conflict. And this is one of the things that marriage counseling can help, especially persons who are not yet married, persons who are dating, looking forward to get married, should be engaging in some kind of counseling with somebody who is a professional and know what they're doing, to help them to garner the counseling, the conflict skills that they need, conflict resolution skills that they need, and even to develop strategies in how they would navigate conflict when it occurs in the relationship, right? Many of us, we kind of navigate conflict in our relationships by default, right? So when it happens, that is when we are, going to seek information or strategies to help us. But uh, just think about it. What if we consider that before we get into the relationship, or even before the relationship advances, that we seek to inform ourselves and our spouses together individually of how to navigate conflict by learning the skills and creating strategies to help us navigate in the relationship.
You're very right, because persons sometimes when persons get married, they're, I guess, probably too much on cloud nine, and so they forget that conflict is a part of the process. Conflict is an everyday happening in all or most relationships. And so if you can do one thing that can help to build your relationship, if you can learn one technique that can minimize the challenges, or that can enhance the satisfaction in your relationship,
Hmm.
wouldn't you be willing to do it?
Yeah, I know I would.
Exactly. So
Right?
it's by taking little steps towards enhancing and progressing in your relationship, that will strengthen the relationship. And as like you say, it's taking this it's thinking about it, taking the step
Yeah.
before the challenges come, being prepared, that helps to make a difference in strengthening the relationship. And so that's what that's one of the tenets of marriage. Pardon? We have a comment? uh exactly. Prevents poor performance. Exactly. But it's still relevant.
Planning prevents poor performance. So, for our audience, for those persons who are online, whether you are planning to get married, or even if you are involved in a marital relationship already, let us debunk the myth this evening that marriage counseling is only for persons who are on the brink of divorce. Marriage counseling can help us to improve relationship satisfaction. Couples
Hmm.
can counselor to help increase their overall satisfaction through counseling. And it is in that session, many times, that a lot of us even get to explore even feelings and even our own unresolved issues, right? It is in that space which ought to be looked at as as a safe space, because that is what we do as counseling. We, as counselors, we create a safe space for our clients, and so the one of the taboo that avoid when they are dating, and even as they plan their wedding. Many couples don't talk about sex because it is a taboo subject for many persons, and that we know has added many problems to relationships as a relationship goes. Many times it is in the safe space of the office that many couples are brave enough to even discuss this subject, Raquel.
Safe space, and that is definitely a plus. That's what couples need. That safe space where you can explore, some things that you have never explored, or you can explore some things that you have always wanted to explore, but you have been timid to talk about it. We talk about when we
Yes.
were getting married, and in terms of our premarital counseling, of course, the counselors were was quite effective in bringing up some issues, asking us to talk about it in the session, of course, and also giving us some assignments, some homework to explore further outside of the session. So it is important that persons understand that marriage counseling provides a safe space, an environment, a warm, fuzzy environment. People say warm and fuzzy environment where you can explore, you can delve into some of those topics that may, you might be timid to mention on your own. You know,
Yes. So, and a few other things that marriage counseling helps, which we might not go into, but counseling helps us to navigate life's transitions, which is part of life. We have to transition from different different places in our relationships as we grow. And whether it is through whether age or our own physical existence, you might start your marriage and somewhere in the relationship you are not so healthy anymore. And as people go through these kind of transitions, sometimes counseling is very very effective, preventing future problems, right? Yes, marriage counseling helps to prevent future problems, right?
yes,
When again, one of the good things about having a trained eye, Raquel, in the relationship as it progress, is that sometimes, let us not even say sometimes, many times the counselor is able to point out things that sometimes the couples are not paying attention to, or things that they totally ignore.
exactly,
So
exactly.
the value of a trained or even a trained ear is very important. And I honestly believe, Raquel, that if more and more couples engage in marriage counseling, that we would have better relationships and stronger marriages. You already know that I'm also an advocate for postmarital counseling. We often place the emphasis on premarital, that is before the wedding day, before the marriage actually takes place. But I am kind of more even of an advocate for postmarital counseling than I am for premarital counseling, and I also see the value of premarital counseling. For me, I honestly believe, based on my own little research, I have not done any official research yet, but based on what I have garnered over the years that I've been counseling, speaking to different persons about their relationships, I have come to a conclusion that if many of us are involved more in postmarital counseling, we probably would have better relationship and more satisfaction in our relationships. What you have to say about that?
Well, I totally agree with you, but I hear something I want to throw back at you. you talk about the fact that postmarital counseling is useful and is helpful, but why do you think many couples do not pursue it? I mean, do you think that because you're a counselor, then you
Because
might
I
see more
think
value in it, or what if you were not in the place of a counselor? Do you think that you would?
I think Raquel, when the wedding day takes place,
Uh-huh.
when the wedding day takes place, a lot of persons enter the marital relationship where after the wedding day takes place with the idea that we can love conquers all, and our love can move mountains until the first conflict takes place, right? A lot of people enter the relationship sometimes with this false sense of security that we can weather all storms. And we know that for many couples, Raquel, when certain things are not worked out in their relationship, we know that we're going to see them within 6 months.
Hmm.
We can look at the couples that we counsel over the years who, when we have encouraged persons in our own counseling, Raquel, of picking up after the wedding day, extensive counseling before the wedding day. You can't work out all of the issues, right? All all of the things that should be worked out really kind of cannot be worked out, right? And let us use ourselves as an example. We were counseled for a year by two counselors,
Yes.
and even after a year of counseling, we didn't work out all our issues before that. We went into postmarital counseling even after we got married, right? And we have to work through the different things in our relationship over time. And so, persons often
It's Yes. Sure. And thank you for jumping in and stepping in. While he was speaking, the thought came to me that, in the early days of marriage, or even as the couple is maturing, when challenges arise, persons, they run back to their parents or they run to share with their friends. But why not consider going to somebody who is trained, who will provide um, an unbiased um, judgment, will provide a non-judgment environment. And so these are some of the things that we should consider. So it's okay that if you're having a challenge in your marriage, that of course, you want to share it with your friends, you want to share it with your parents, but also the element of going to somebody who's trained and expert in the field, who can provide a safe space, who can listen, who can provide unconditional regard, who can provide that those techniques, those opportunities for you to explore and delve into the issue from a professional point of view, from a place of providing empathy, providing support, and of course somebody who will not take sides. Wouldn't we want to explore such an opportunity? I think that is also something that we should think about. So many persons, like I said, will think about, talking to their girlfriends or talking to their friends about a challenge that they're having in their marriage. Some persons have the challenge of running back their issues with their in-laws. But I'm positing that marriage counseling is an effective strategy, an effective tool that can provide uh, a safe space and a positive environment for couples to explore their challenges, to deal with the conflicts. And so definitely marriage counseling can be of great benefit to, newlyweds. They are trying to establish communication patterns. They're working on setting a foundation for their relationship. So it is definitely ideal for newlyweds. We spoke about couples when you're having minor disputes. It can make
I
a difference.
I really really appreciate that point that you have made, and the importance of premarital counseling. I know for certain that it has been of great help in that it prepared me for the unseen, things that I would not have expected or think that I would encounter in my marital life. I was able to discuss these things, and many things were shared with me that prepared me, to deal with difficult situations aforetime or beforehand. So
Yes,
I went into marriage with the knowledge that conflicts are going to come, and I was also given advice as to how to deal with these conflicts when they come. And as a result, I have been married for quite a number of years, and I've been able to deal with the conflicts accordingly, accurately,
yes.
rightly, and you know, and that has saved my marriage, I believe. We have a comment in the chat
Could you read it for me, please?
from
I'll appreciate that.
Marie.
Marie, yeah. Marie Itcher.
Yes, let me see if I can highlight it a little bit better, bigger.
Yes,
I think many of us go through premarital counseling because we are expected to do so. It is an expectation, so we go through it. I think that some expectation is not present for most marital counseling, and
or for
many of us
post-marital.
sorry, yeah, post-marital counseling, and many of us believe that further counseling after marriage is only needed when problems occur. We have not been socialized to do post-marital counseling. However, I definitely see the benefits based on the discussion here, and I believe the author of this comment is making reference to the point that Brother Paul raised, and I loved one of the points that he made. Most people wait until there is a problem to seek counseling, and I believe sometimes when they wait that long, it may not counseling may not even help. But if
Correct.
you are prepared and you have premarital counseling, postmarital counseling, it is definitely going to help in a long way. I know that you have quite a few thoughts to share on that. Please go ahead.
Yes, you're right, and I really appreciate that point. From Marie, where she's advocating, she's supporting the point that we're making here. That it is one moment. I'm having a little frog in my throat. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm excited that Marie, and also the point that you shared earlier, where through marriage counseling you were prepared for the challenges that you encountered. And Paul always makes a point that if you're not going through a challenge now, then you should also expect that it's coming. So we shouldn't fool ourselves that challenges and conflicts and disagreements will not come. They will come, but how prepared are you? And I like the point you made earlier that proper planning prevents poor performance. Welcome back, Paul. Are you here? Can you hear us?
Yeah, glad to be back. Yes, I
Yes.
can hear.
Okay, great. We
You
were
hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Marie and Brother Dexter, we're in the point of the conversation where we're talking about the benefits of postmarital counseling. The comment from Marie is that premarital counseling is that you're expected to do it. It's an expectation. People just possibly sometimes people just do it because it is expected. But um, she was definitely making
Mm-hmm.
the point that from the discussion here, the benefits of postmarital counseling, and it's something that she's advocating, is something that Brother Dexter is also advocating. That from the discussion here, we see that great value can come from postmarital counseling. You can see the comment. You can see Mary's comment. I,
Yes, yeah, yes, yes. And I like that comment. Really like that comment.
yes,
And um, to see, Mary is among the converted,
right. Exactly that's what
right?
I said.
And that it is so yeah. Both postmarital and premarital counseling have their places and should be something that couples pursue. Question: do you think premarital counseling is more of the present time than the past? Give me a little bit more clarity on that question before I answer it. Give me a little follow up to that question. Or you want to attempt it, Raquel? I think I need a little bit more to answer that question.
Yes, but while the person is adding to the point, um, I also want to emphasize something that Marie says, where we are not socialized to postmarital counseling, and so it's something that we want to be advocating more of. That there's value to it. It makes a difference. It's okay that after you're married, just like it's okay after you purchase your house, after you purchase your car, that take the car and house of preventative maintenance, to tune up and to spruce up your house. And so it is now postmarital counseling add values in those ways, strengthen the relationship, increase understanding and communication. And so definitely we want to be advocating for
Hmm.
for more postmarital counseling. Is there an additional point?
Yeah, I think I get where I think I get where West is Trisha. I
Trisha,
think
yes.
I get where she's going with the question. Uh, in terms of you know a lot of couples know, I think, based on my own experience, I think there are many couples who in present time have really bought into the idea of premarital counseling. I think many couples are at that place in getting married where they will because I've had situations where persons who I am going to do their weddings, and they will call me beforehand and ask me, do you do premarital counseling? And I do weddings very, very often. And I have counseled quite a few persons who I have married in premarital counseling sessions. So I think that yes, in the present time, a lot more people are on it than it was in the past. Because um, as we look in back in the past, and especially our parents, our grandparents, and all of that, they really weren't too big on premarital counseling. They really didn't see premarital counseling as something that was important. And one of the things I'd also want to point out, Raquel, we often celebrate the fact that our people of the past generations would have been married for a very long time. But let us also make it very clear that though a lot of persons may have been married for very, very long times, it does not necessarily mean that they were enjoying good relationships. And that is something that we have to make very clear, right? The fact that somebody is married a very long time does not mean that the relationship is good, right? Because we have seen where many persons who have endured a relationship rather than enjoying it, right? So in our present time, somebody asked when you were getting married in the 90s, it was not. Yeah, true, true. Yeah, I agree. It was not prevalent. True, 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 true. Well, we got married in the 2000s, not the 90s. But yes, yes, Trisha, I do agree that um when you look back into the 90s and so forth, there was not there was premarital counseling, but not as prevalent as it is today. I think that persons who are getting married in our time now more see the value of premarital counseling and postmarital counseling. I pray that it would have been more, because I think that um, it could be more, and I'd be happy if more people were doing it, right? But there's a glimmer of hope. Let me say that it is hopeful, right? But yeah, it is important, very important. Another myth, Raquel. All right, you want to say something else before I go on to another myth?
No, I'm just encouraged. I appreciate those two comments from Marie and Trisha,
Yes,
and also that
yes.
that it's clear that it's something that we all, using this platform and other platforms and other, other means that we have, that we definitely want to be encouraging more persons to think about
Hmm.
marital counseling, post-marital counseling, and taking the necessary steps to enhance your relationships. So persons is, we want to normalize it. We want to tell you that in the same way that you think that it's okay to, to part of having a healthy relationship is taking care of the relationship. Not just eating food and sleeping, but
That's right. Very
also
true.
doing those things now that will help to give you a deeper understanding of yourself, a deeper understanding of the mechanics of a marriage and two persons coming together. And also, that there's this element that when somebody listens to you, give you is empathetic towards your story, your point of view, it makes a difference. you know Also, when couples come
Hmm.
together in
Yeah,
a safe space with
very
a counselor, they leave many times, they leave, and the relationship is so much stronger. You know there is, as you said, they might come to the marriage session with, with a fuss, uh hoping to get divorced, and then sometimes at the end of it, they are refreshed, they're energized, and they're given tools and techniques that they say, yes, I'm going to go on, I want to make my marriage work. And so, definitely, I'm definitely going to be advocating for more discussions like this, for more opportunities to send a message that it adds value to your life, it adds value to your relationship when you consider marriage counseling. Uh, are you speaking? Not hearing you. Try again. Marriage comes as a quick fix. Another myth you were sharing a while ago, that marriage comes as a quick fix.
yes. Marriage counseling is a quick fix. You hearing me?
Yes, yes.
So many people think that marriage counseling is a quick fix. That I I related time ago that I had one client, a couple coming into my office, and they sat down, and
Mhm.
the wife looked across at her husband and said, I come that you fix him. And she was looking for him to be fixed. And I told her before the session started that it doesn't really work like that, right? You have to come into the session and come to other sessions planning to do some work, because this is not a quick fix. And so many persons think, Raquel, that when they go to the counselor's office, that all things can be set straight after one or two sessions. And that is a false sense of security.
Mhm. True.
Marriage counseling is not a quick fix. I often tell persons that come into sessions with me that depending on the issue that you're having, you have to plan for the long haul. Yes, there are some situations and I'm not going to use the term quick fix, right? There are some challenges and some issues that we can work through quicker than others, but it is not a quick fix. And so we tell persons, don't come into the session thinking that you are going to get rid of all of your issues after one or two sessions. And as the lady said to me about her husband, fix him, right? And even though in the session, yes, her husband had issues, but guess what? It turned out that she probably have more issues than him, but she wanted to fix him. So let us understand that this myth that all things will be well if we no here how this thing is, Raquel. The issues that we have in our relationships, the conflicts, the problems, they oftentimes take a good while to develop, don't it?
I was gonna make that point.
They grow over time.
Uh-huh.
They take weeks, and they take years to develop. And we have people coming to counseling who want to get rid of a problem in 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, we must have all of the answers, all of the strategies, and we must have all of the skills that we need to navigate through these challenges. Now, if I didn't know what a myth was, that one is really a myth.
Indeed. Indeed. That is really a myth, And let me put it out here too that when couples or individuals come for counseling, we don't tell them what to do. Uh we speak to them, we find out what their goals are, and we facilitate, we work at a plan with them so that they can be working towards a goal. So it's not like like a Superman or a Wonder Woman, and just
Yes,
zap zap the that one, and all is well in Wonderland. It doesn't work like that. It takes effort, and it
yes,
takes commitment,
yes,
you know
that's true.
and of course you have to have a goal. When one client shared with me that, she didn't even she he or she, I can't recall if it's a male, it was a male or a female, but the client says that, I didn't know that, you would be asking me about what are my goals. What do you want to accomplish by coming to counseling? There must be something that you're working towards. Individuals are working towards,
Yes,
you know. And
yes, true.
so, as counselors, we
Very true,
facilitate
very
and
true,
assist,
very true.
assist them in achieving or working through trying to find out what the goals are. Let's pause at this time to take some of the comments in the chat. Go ahead and read them for me.
Trisha asked a question, Raquel, that I want I want to start answering this question. Trisha, West Trisha asked, what percentage of marriage counseling men I'm involved in. And I find this question very fascinating because you in my different presentations that I've made regarding counseling over the years and in different marriage workshops and so forth, I know you would have heard me discuss many times that men often come to counseling when the marriage is already over, when the relationship is over. And usually when we see when we see counseling being couples coming for counseling, a lot of times it is actually the wives who show up first. And in many instances the husbands are outright saying that, look here, they're not coming, right? They don't have any problems, they're not coming. And a good amount of the time, Raquel, when the husbands show up, is when the wives have made a decision that I am done and I'm not going any further.
Uh-huh.
And when the husband realizes that she's serious about ending the relationship, that is when the husband shows up. And I usually tell these husbands that when you come at this point in time, I usually can't do anything to help you, nor help the relationship, right? So that in terms of that, Trisha, the percentage of men versus women who come for counseling is very low. It's very low. I don't think I've ever seen in all of my years of counseling. I don't think I've ever seen a husband show up first for counseling. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think I've seen a husband show up first. Usually it is the wife that shows up first. And Trisha followed up by saying, I believe women are more willing to do counseling, which is true. It's very, very true. Very, very, very true. Right? A lot of times this is the who show up to try to save the relationship. Right? And I'm not in any way saying that men don't come to counseling, because that is not true. Men do come to counseling in terms of their relationship. But if you're going to look at it in terms of the percentage is that there's a disparity in the percentage. Right, Raquel?
Yes, there is, and also there's another comment that is putting some balance to it, that we also have seen, and I've also have seen too, that that some women don't want to come to don't want to come for counseling. So there's this balance where some men might come after they feel forced, or their backs are against the wall, and then of course you have someone who it's not their thing. That's they don't they're not into this counseling business. And so we
Yes,
want to we
true.
want to
Yeah,
make
true.
that.
Very true. Very
And it's not only about the women who are willing to come, and it's not only about the men who delay in coming, but it can go it can you can flip the switch from time to time to where some women do not want to come for counseling, do not see they do not understand the value or the importance of it, and so they do not want to be exposed to it. But
yeah.
yeah, but the point that came to mind while you were speaking about the fact that when sometimes men feel forced, or when their backs are against the wall, that's the time they are probably more willing to come for counseling. And that's one of the challenge that's one of the things that we're saying, through marital counseling, through regular checkups, through being open to sit with somebody who is unbiased, sit with somebody who is trained. Then of course when you do that, it prevents, but it also helps in identifying underlying problems. You might have some deep-seated emotional wounds, or some trauma, or
Hmm.
behavioral issues, that
I
when you
agree.
take time to come for counseling, come for to speak with somebody who is trained, then it helps to uncover some challenges, some problems, that you can
Yeah.
help to enhance the relationship and to prevent future problems. So that's the idea. We're trying to address a situation before it gets bad, before it escalates into something that really
Yeah.
gets out of hand.
Yes. A comment says, I believe many don't see the need because of a lack of education on the subject. And that is true. That's true. But there's other truth, though, that because of the extent of counseling and how counseling has become popular, especially throughout the Caribbean, I think that there's now a shift in many of our Caribbean cultures of the importance of mental health. We we actually see more persons going in for counseling individually or as couples in their relationship. So
Hmm.
it is gradually changing, right? Because I think there's a lot more information out there now on the value of counseling and psychology. And so it is gradually shifting. So again, Raquel, we have some hope. There is hope. All is not lost.
That's right.
And Mary asked, how can we encourage our spouses to come to counseling if they themselves don't see the value of post-marital counseling? Oh, Mary, that's a hard one. That's a hard one, Mary. That's a hard one. Um, let me put it this way. I think this is where the church also comes in, Raquel, right? That I think these are some of the things that need to be taught in church, in our congregations, right? I know that many of our leaders have an aversion to counseling and psychology because they don't many of our ministers don't see it as something that is spiritual. But I can tell you, Jesus Christ was the greatest counselor.
Definitely.
There has never been a counselor on earth than Jesus,
Yeah. The-
right? And we can use the many examples where Jesus comforted and counseled his disciples. So there is value, and so these are some of the things that we need to start teaching our members the importance. And when oftentimes when we talk about mental health, Raquel, we are only talking about the individual challenges, but let us also put in the mix that taking care of our relationship is also taking care of our mental health.
exactly. Exactly.
You know that we drive each other mad sometimes in our relationship. So taking care of our relationship, growing our relationship is also a part of taking care of our mental health.
Yes, and definitely, and it also we talk about conflict management and persons being able to express themselves and name their emotions and so on. Some when persons are not feel that they can't speak, when persons feel that they can't share what's happening with them to their spouse, it's like you have a pressure cooker that is just boiling, and the fire is boiling, and then what will happen? You're gonna have an explosion. So you're making a valid point that
Yeah.
taking care of your relationship um is also part of taking care of your mental health, because it gives you an opportunity to deal with certain
Yeah.
issues, to deal with emotional needs, to talk about the element of communication, the element of conflict management. We hear on the news every single day about how managing conflict severely affects a relationship. How if you don't manage conflict well, it puts you in a place where
Yes.
you can be locked up for the rest of your life. And so this topic might seem like it's only about marriage, but it also has implications for so many other aspects of your life. It also has implication in terms of how we raise your children, how the children see the husbands and wife relating, and the part of the continue the generational issues, and legacy and so on. So it has a far-reaching impact, that when we can understand the importance of marriage counseling and how it enhances relationship, how it can have a positive impact on the marriage, on the individuals, on the children, on the community, on the country, on the world. So it's a big deal.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
And Raquel, we and as we look at the second myth, that we need to clear that there are no quick fixes where our relationships are concerned. in most things in life that are valuable, that are lasting, cannot be fixed in a short period of time. So when we look at postmarital, premarital counseling and so forth, we must understand that in order to get the value out of our relationships, we have to spend time going through the process, right? That is where that the process is important, right? And I don't want to say that in the process, Raquel, you have to trust the process also, right?
Yes,
Because we have also seen many persons come to counseling for the relationships, and they come one, 2 or 3 times, and they just don't bother come back because they think that they are not getting the progress that they should be getting. But the truth is, it takes time. It takes time to unearth the deep issues that people have. It takes time to work through the different issues that people have. And we also have to remember that sometimes what causes the problem in the relationship are things that go back sometimes many generations, that go way back in the past,
true.
that persons have been carrying all along with them. And sometimes you kind of need is almost as if you are trying to repair a building, and you have to tear it down right down to the foundation in order to build it back up.
Right, and it
And
takes
that
time.
right, so yes, to get a house livable for people, it takes time, right? And so people must understand that counseling is not a quick fix. Marriage counseling is especially is not a quick fix. Trisha says you speak about enduring and enjoying. Can you elaborate more? I think I was the person that made that point, Raquel, that a lot of times when we observe people in their relationship, that God who places people intended for us to just be trying to get by every day, right? To trying to get by every year, just to say that we have been married for a long time. What is the value of being married to somebody for a long time if you are not enjoying that person? So that's what I mean when I say endure rather than many couples are not enjoying their relationship. They are simply enduring, right? They stay in the relationship for the children. They stay in the relationship because or the relationship because sign of status. Marriage is a sign of status, right? Just I have had to deal
You, yes, Hmm. Yes, thank you so much for that point. I definitely it's I support that point. We ought to be enjoying our relationship. We ought to be, growing together in unity and in fellowship in our relationships. I think one of the points I heard Paul mentioning just before we lost him is that we have to choose our partner as well. We have to take time to choose our partner as well. Because marriage is a lifetime commitment, and so if you do not choose your partner well, then of course it complicates this. It complicates the fellowship. It complicates the union, and now adds more stress to the to the equation. So definitely, um that's something that I want to put out there for persons who are considering marriage, that it's important to take time to understand yourself, but also take time to understand the partner. Choose your partner well, because it can make or break your relationship for the rest of your life. uh I think Marie has a comment. Okay, go ahead, brother. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Indeed. Yes. Yes. And thank you so much for sharing that story. That because you mentioned that they were together for a number of years, and having done the the counseling for about 2 or 3 months, they realized that although they were together for a number of years, that that did not guarantee the success of their future marriage. And so you just made it emphasize the point even more for us, that the importance of marital counseling. That having been together for years and years and years and years, they didn't take the time to explore some of those things that would make or break their marriage. And I really appreciate that you encourage them, and I want to applaud their courage for making the decision to do the counseling, because as you said, they didn't get married, and they went on to marry separate individuals that now they seem to be in a better state. So it really makes the point, the value of marriage counseling. Is there a comment? Did we respond to the comment from Marie? Could you assist me with that one, please, Brother Dexter? That's where Brother Paul was. Okay. Oh, that's where I got a little disconnected, and and then I missed that part. Okay. All right. So all the comments have been acknowledged. Okay. Yes. So we want to thank um the Trisha West, Marie, and others who have been definitely joining in the conversation, adding value to the conversation. And we just want to pause at this time to mention the email address. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at levelupyourmarriagecoc@gmail.com, and we will definitely reply. We'll try to answer your questions, and we'll definitely continue to engage in the process of these valuable conversations. So it's Level Up Your Marriage. It's on the screen. Level Up Your Marriage coc@gmail.com. Please feel free to send your comments, any questions, and if there are topics that you'd like us to discuss, if there are things that you want to share that you might be a little timid to share on the platform, then we definitely welcome those. Look forward to hearing from you through this email address, levelupyourmarriagecoc@gmail.com. Uh, Welcome back, Mr. Blake. Welcome back, Paul. I hope that you can hear me. We are a few minutes from ending. Yes, I can hear you. All right. So while you were away, we were making the point of, I think when you dropped off, you were making the point of the value of choosing your partner well, because it has choosing the wrong partner can have a significant negative impact on the rest of your life, and you might be living in hell. And Brother Dexter and others were adding to the conversation that importance of making good decisions in terms of your life partner, because rather than, you don't want to be enduring, you want to be enjoying your relationship. I'm not sure if there's anything else that you'd like to
Yes.
add as we draw to a close. We have a few more minutes before we close, but we want to pause to welcome back Paul, and if you have
No,
anything.
I think you have said it. Yes. You have said it all and said it well. Um, that navigating relationships is work. Is work.
Yes. Hmm.
And not just work, but it is serious work. And if you want to get the best out of your relationship, you have to put in the work, right?
Definitely.
I always remember, Raquel, Usain Bolt in his career ran a total of 9 something seconds, or something about a minute or something in his entire career. So if you put all of the time that he ran in the individual races,
Uh-huh.
they run about a minute and something. But look how hard Usain Bolt had to train. He wanted to be a world beater and a legend.
A legend.
And he had to train and train hard to run
Correct.
less. Yes, to run a minute and something seconds in his entire career.
Hmm.
And so the same idea comes across with our relationships, that if we want to have healthy, strong relationships, we have to be willing to put in the work, right? And I'm glad that we are looking at these myths tonight, and we will continue in our next program, our next discussion, looking at, because there are several myths that you know that people believe in, that does not add any benefit to their relationship, or can can also um cause them to look at their relationship with certain belief systems that are very, very unproductive. All right, so that is something that is important. So as we draw to a close, brother Dexter, can you mute your mic, please? As we draw to a close, we make give the information that we have, that we are sharing this information because we know that it has worked for us. We are not telling people, or having a discussion for the simple reason of having a discussion. We are having these kind of discussions because we have been involved in this field for a good while, and we have seen how the tools work in our own relationship, and we want to help some people, especially Christians in the Lord's church, to have better relationships, because we know that we can have better relationships. We can, I mean, who should be enjoying a good relationship than a child of God, and children of God? We have the right, don't it, Raquel? We have the right to do that, to be
That's right.
enjoying the best of our relationships. But you have to put in the work,
That's
right?
right.
And so, as we go and having the next discussions, looking at some of the myths of marriage counseling, let us understand that the work has to be done. The work has to be done. There has to be sacrifice. There has to be care. There has to be love. There has to be compassion. And all of those things require some serious work. Raquel, I'll give you the
And
last word.
thank you. And as a result of doing the serious work, engaging in making an effort, taking the steps, the rewards are there. The rewards will come. So it's not just about just doing the work. But when you work hard, when you make the effort, then definitely the benefits and rewards will follow, in terms of having a great relationship, in terms of your overall mental and spiritual well-being, in terms of your physical well-being, the satisfaction that comes from having a great relationship. And so, as it goes hand in hand. Some good work, some hard work will give you the benefits and the rewards that we all hope for in marriage and relationships. So let us remember that, just in the same way you have sunshine and rain, the hard work will bring the rewards. And we want to encourage you, to keep working on your marriage, that there is always, we have to put our hope and trust in God. He created, he instituted marriages, and he has not left us alone. With him, we can make our marriage successful. And it requires that each of us take the step, put in the work, so we can get the rewards and the benefits of having a great relationship. It has been good, and we want to thank you for joining us this evening on Level Up Your Marriage, as we spoke about the myths and truths of marriage counseling. Have a good night, and we see you in another 2 weeks.
They can never take the love in this place. They can never take the love in this place. They can never take the love.